Well, welcome. AWR, a beautiful Monday night, man. We continue on with Penguin stuff. Yes. If you've been living under a rock, well, the Penguin show ended last night. And what a way to end the Penguin show, leading to Batman the Part 2. Now, I covered the finale last night for about an hour and a half with a couple people on. Go check it out if you haven't. Please. We discussed the finale, the whole show. We discussed the future of the Batman Part 2, what we think the Penguin show could lead into, what possible storylines, characters, villains, heroes, whatever, down the line in the Batman Part 2. We discussed all of that in that stream last night. Actually, around the same time, like right after the show. Okay. And tonight, make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below. Tonight, we're going to be looking at the Penguin from Grace Randolph's perspective. Breakdown, Easter eggs, and what she thinks is going to be the future of the Batman universe going in Part 2. That's what we're going to do. And I'm not sure if anybody's going to join me. Nobody has said they're going to join or not. There's a better link. So I'll do the solo for now, unless somebody does want to join me. Just let me know in DMs. I just sent out a link to a friend. And I'm going to try to burst some blue sky, man. I don't know why I can't share this on Blue Sky. It's really, really weird. But, right, yeah, so let's just pull up Grace. Let's see what she said. I haven't watched this. I know Blindness watched this. Blindness is usually it's my main co-host, I would say. So come in the chat, say hello, do all that, please, if you can. If you feel like it. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna see what I agree and disagree with, and see what her takes on the show are. That's just all about. We're gonna do this together as a community. So let's bring her up. All right, the video is 24 minutes long. Yes, 24 minutes long. I'll bring down the banner so you can see the bottom. So it's 24 minutes long, as you can see here. Okay, so up 25 minutes long, as you can see here. Actually, 25 minutes long. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So, all right. So we're gonna try to get this down before midnight my time. Okay, before my time, midnight. All right, we'll try to get that done. That's the agenda. All right, so let's start the video.
and welcome to my spoiler review of The Penguin.
Let's see what she has to
Feels
say.
good to not only be able to finally talk some DC with you, but some good DC. Matt Reeves continues. He is doing.
So has she been ignoring DC content on purpose? Like maybe she hasn't really talked about the Creatures Commandos, and I don't know, or whatever.
Doing a very realistic take on Batman, and I don't know how competitive. I don't know. I loved the movie, and I loved the show, but the box office was a little low for the movie, and the ratings are a little low for this show. But I'm having a good time.
Box office was low for the movie. 772 million was low. 772 million was low. Wow. Wow. 772 million was low for this show. Really? Really? Wow. Wow. Grace, I have to disagree with you right there. It did well. It did well. Well, it didn't make what Marvel made that year, but it did well. It's in the pandemic era, post 2020, made the most money at the box office for DC. Okay. Wow. It made a little bit more than $250 million. I think Warner Brothers is happy with that, and they're happy with the reception. The reception, the fanfare, the fans, critics, they all like the movie. So that's why they're keeping it. James Gunn and Pierce Brosnan could have easily axed the Batman universe when they were starting the DCU and DC Studios. They could have easily axed that. They could easily shut that down. But you know what? He acknowledged how good the movie was. He liked the movie. He acknowledged that the universe could work. Matt Reeves could work. And he acknowledged that, something like this could work in DC Studios outside of DCU. So, whatever. And I don't see many people in the chat. Where is everybody? Chat with me, people. Please feel free to chat with me.
I mean, it was so much like those standalone villain comics that they do so often. And in that regard, as a comic book fan, I really enjoyed it. What did you think now that it's over? And I have to say, for once, and I really appreciated this, Hollywood did not turn a villain into an anti-hero.
Yeah.
They let him be a villain. Oh boy, did they. And it ended up being quite the experience. So when I watched this show for the first time, I got to binge it. Would you have preferred binging it? Did you wait to binge it? As I said in my initial review, I think that's really the way to watch it. I think it's a little bit slow for a week to week. But anyway, when it was revealed that Oz killed his own brothers, I questioned what the show was doing. Because I'd come to really like Oz. I was rooting for him. I liked how scrappy he was, and that he wasn't just doing a song and dance as he had himself described, but he was clawing his way to the top, inch by inch. But killing his own flesh and blood? How could I root for someone like that in any capacity? How could I spend a lot of time with them? Wasn't it just too awful? Like, we've had our villains over the years, particularly on. I
don't think the point of this show was to make us root for Oz, Penguin. Feel bad for him. Be on his side. I don't think we're on his side. Nobody was on his side. We think he's scum. He's terrible human being. We think he's scum. Low, selfish. It's a horrible person. And he was like that since he was a kid. Clingy, psychotic, too. desperate, attention seeking from his mother. Just, yeah.
Streaming and cable shows, but they've always had a code, always drawn a line somewhere, which I guess in some ways, when you see what this show does, is a little unrealistic, a little Hollywood. Because when
Pig One has no code.
Oz killed Victor, wow, because he didn't want the emotional liability. Think about it. Oz even kept his own mother alive, barely. But Victor ended up meaning so much to him.
That's a little different than Grace said, than Blindness said yesterday. Blindness said that he feels that Victor eventually could be competition and try to take over. But I do think the emotional tie that Victor and Oz have to each other, I think that does play in a role where Oz cannot be tied to someone like Victor. He can't be soft. Especially when having somebody like Victor who could be like a son to him.
That he killed him with his bare hands. He had not killed anyone with his bare hands before, really, like that up close and personal. And what a brilliant bookend to the show, by the way. We start with Oz killing someone who disrespected him and thought nothing of him.
Yeah.
And we end with Oz killing someone who idolized him.
The thing is, right? Victor lost his family, right? Due to the bombings by the Riddler. And he had to scrap and claw just to get by a week later, right? Things got real bad for him. Obviously, like most of Gotham after the events of the Riddler bombings, right? Events of that, and apart from Batman, the first movie, and so Victor grew to respect Oz, and Victor finally grew to he kind of like he had a family again. Somebody sees a father, somebody to believe in, the hope in, like that. So I'm gonna say this. It's directly correlates to. It is definitely a reflection of Batman and Robin's relationship, okay? Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. The only difference is Bruce is not psychotic, Batman's not psychotic, and he braces Dick Grayson as family. Where Oz, on the other hand, he's just a prick, an asshole, a jerk. And he can't have, and if he's gonna run the criminal underworld or wherever, he cannot be emotionally tied to someone. And that's what separates him. I think that's what separates him from other gangsters. Like Maroney, because obviously Maroney cares about his kid and his wife. And Sophia cares about her brother. Separates it. And the Maroonies and the Falcones, they like to dominate the Gotham, most of the Gotham territories, crime territories, but they still care about family. Penguin, he only cares about his mother. And maybe that's it. But so he can't be emotionally attached to this kid who sees him as a father figure, a mentor, an inspiration, after losing his family and losing his girl. That's in episode 3, that his girl decided to go all the way to California and he can't live in Gotham anymore. Tries to start a new life in California. his girlfriend. It was just people already look against Oz as being, yeah, this guy is not a good guy. This guy is terrible. This guy is scum. Like this, but I think it's when they show this scene at the end of the series. Basically, the last 10 minutes is part of the last 10 minutes of the show. Shows that stuff this kid has. We thought this kid's gonna future, but that's not the case. He can't be mostly attached. He has to be a cold-hearted villain, and that's killing, that choking him to death, and then leaving him this dead body there, and also putting his ID card in the river, Gotham Harbor. Okay, this just made everybody's like yeah. This Penguin, he's shit. He's a shit human being, and everything he talks about in this show about he's about the little guy getting to the top, how the big guys are bringing the little guys down, the wealthy, the elites are bringing them down. And so it's a premise use of the show, and where he wants to be on top, and he says he's doing it for certain areas of the city, right? To bring respect, to bring credibility to this back to the cities, to give people jobs, hope, and stuff like that, because of the bombings from the Riddler. But we know that's bullshit. We know because he's just doing this. He's just doing this to feel strong. Try to feel strong and not powerless. Like he's always been known. I mean, the Penguin we're used to when he's short, he's always been known to be kind of the Napoleon. He's always been known to have the Napoleon syndrome, where he's sensitive about his height. He's always very asshole jerk like because of his height. He is like that in here, but obviously without being short. He's just a more normal human being, despite looking ugly. Right? I mean, he's not ugly compared to our incarnation as a Penguin. He's just whatever. But he feels very inferior. And this is him trying to not feel inferior at all, trying to be the top. And his reasoning why he's doing this is bullshit. We know why he's doing this. Let's continue on. Oh.
Who loved him and who he loved. As I sat in shock, I realized what the show was doing. I was like, oh, you're good, you, to borrow from another Mafia story. And I also recalled the fable of the scorpion and the frog, that even though the frog had helped the scorpion still killed the frog because it was in the scorpion's nature. And I think the Penguin teaches a valuable lesson.
Mean, let's be honest, like, the guy killed his own brothers. Could you really trust him? Trust him to be a father figure, a mentor? This penguin's not black and white. He's bad. He is not a tortured villain. Okay, a sympathetic villain, a tortured villain. That's not the point of this show. They didn't want to make him like that. All right? We're used to that. When a villain gets his own movie or shows, we're used to that the villain is always a sympathetic villain. Why, right? I have Marvel as a blame for that. But here, they didn't go like that down that route. They just played old villain. Just played old bad guy. Which we want. We don't want. Penguin is the type of character that Yeah, like every Batman villain has problems, but when I think of sympathetic characters and villains, and Penguin is not my top three. Okay, yeah, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, but Penguin is not my top three. Okay, not even my top three. All right, let's continue.
At an interesting time, by the way, that no matter what someone says to you, no matter what they promise you, no matter how sincere they might seem, no matter how sincere at the time they might be, remember their nature. The Penguin will do whatever he has to get to the top. And don't think for a minute that you will get any special treatment. He barreled right through Sophia several times.
Oh no.
Ah, Fiori. Ooh, Red Bull. No. First the rings, then the wings.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Several times. And the only reason that she's still alive by the time the show is over is that he needed a scapegoat. In fact, giving her a fate, though, worse than death, putting her back in Arkham. Brilliant! It's a brilliant show! Except for one little thing, and that's that how on earth does Batman not show up? I saw at the end of episode 7, people...
Because Batman cannot be everywhere. He's a fucking human being.
People were already making fun of that on Twitter because it's so stupid. A new drug is introduced to Gotham. Sophia kills the entire Falcone family. Oz takes out the entire Maroni family. Plus, there is a huge explosion, which takes out a big chunk of Gotham. One of my favorite tweets was someone having Alfred say, "Master Bruce, you must have heard that." And only at the very end does the...
How do you know he hasn't done stuff off screen? Okay. Good on this. Batman can't be everywhere, and he probably knows what's going on. Don't worry. But he can't control everything. He's a freaking human being. What is he? He doesn't have an army. He doesn't have a bat family. He doesn't have an army yet. He probably doesn't have enough in his cave yet. He's still young. Bricks. Let's let this character grow, man. Let him grow and learn, too. Batman can't be everywhere. He's a human being. He can't be everywhere, okay? Hell. I'm telling you, if you make any other show about a show about a villain with this kind of stuff, same thing would happen. They might not have the hero in it. They might let the villain do stuff, and the hero may never show up. I mean, if they do a Green Arrow villain, they even might do it a Superman villain, even a Marvel villain. It might be the same thing. Batman can't be everywhere at once. He can't be everywhere at once. He can't stop everything at once. Okay. First of all, you know how unrealistic it is for him to do that. First of all, how? Also, look at the Batman. The beginning of Batman, we see him take down those gangsters with a half-paint face, right? Or paint face, right? And save that guy who by the subway, and the guy obviously is afraid. But how do you know another crime is not going down at the same time? Okay? How do you know 2 or 3 crimes are not going down at the same time? Okay? You know, we always gotta think about the possibility that, he's just as human. You can't stop everything. Gotham's a big city. There could be more than one crime going down one criminal action going down at the same time. How do you know? There might be a robbery in this part of town. There might be a robbery in another part of town. Maybe stopping this robbery, but you can't stop the other robbery. It's just, guys, crime simultaneously can happen at the same time in different parts of the city. Let's think logically here, man. Think logically.
The bat signal finally go on? I mean, some have argued that Batman went on a bit of a road trip after the Batman. He needed a break.
No, he didn't. No. I don't know where people got that.
I never got that from the end of the movie. I thought that Selena Kyle left town. I assumed that the path that Batman was on took him back to Gotham.
Yeah, that took him back to Gotham.
A line of dialogue could have explained it, though, and then at the end of the movie when the
that was from Gotham.
Signal flips on, it's like, oh, Batman's back. And he's not happy. But even if Batman is not on the table, where the heck is Gordon? Or any good line?
Yeah, I thought Gordon would be in the show. I really did, for maybe that scene in episodes, the finale with the part of East End caved in from the bomb that Sophia left for the Penguin's drug operation. I thought Gordon would make a small cameo. That's not the case. I mean, the only cameo we got from the Batman was the chief guy, Chief Brock. The guy has a voice like this. I'm going to try my best to impersonate his voice. I think you've been working for a while. How can you trust this guy, Gordon? Maybe he's up to it, Gordon. I don't know. Maybe he's on it, Gordon. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that voice. I don't know. I probably butchered that voice. I think his name is Chief Brock. I could be wrong on that. So correct me if you're in the live chat, or if you're watching this after, just put in the comments below, please.
Enforcement individuals. They had some crooked individuals.
Yeah.
But what about Gordon? Where would he be? There are plenty of characters also that could have been used if they couldn't get Batman. Like this show is so good when DC gave them so little. It's like DC wanted them to fail. They were like, no toys for you. He has the Penguin. Ha ha, what are you going to do with him? And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe what you managed to do with the Penguin. It's amazing. But yeah, where's Bullock, Montoya, Flash? How about Barbara Gordon? What a great opportunity to have potentially introduced Barbara Gordon.
Why would they introduce that Barbara Gordon? Why was she put there?
I know that Gotham is lawless. It's the whole reason it needs a Batman, but it has not been abandoned. At times, in fact, the show felt very much like No Man's Land. But even
Grace.
in the comics,
Patience, Grace. Patience. We might get these characters later on. They should introduce Bullock in the first movie. I think that. Okay. But let's relax a little with this. There's still a lot to go down the road with this universe. Let's relax. Please, let's hit the brakes. Let's hit the brakes.
Man's Land still had Batman and his allies. They did not abandon the city. As I said in my initial review, the Penguin is very light on Easter eggs, much to his detriment. But there are a few. For instance, within the world of the show, the file...
No, not much of a detriment, whatever you said. No, and it was good. It didn't have that much Easter eggs. Okay? Easter eggs, Blinded said it best. Easter eggs are only for the hardcore audiences to know this. Not for the casual audiences that are not really into comic books, don't know much about comic books, will not catch on Easter eggs, okay? It's for the hardcore audiences to know those. and major fans, hardcore fans, will notice this show did not need Easter eggs. Okay, this show was not trying to do that. Okay. Now, there are some things in this show where it might lead you to a little bit of Easter eggs to lead you to the future, but not a lot. It did not need Easter eggs, and I think it helped the show. Actually, it helped the show better because you go to Marvel shows expecting Easter eggs all the time. This I wasn't expecting Easter eggs at all. That's a Marvel syndrome.
Oz takes in episode 1. The true treasure left behind by Carmine Falcone is the information that Oz uses throughout the season to fuel his rise to power. From the councilman to Johnny's affair. That is very nice, very slick. I was I almost wish the show had a callback to that because it's so clever. I think it would be missed by many people and be like, you couldn't have gone back to being like, look, it's all from that's all he needed. That's all he really needed, you know? And I loved that in the final episode, Selena Kyle finally reached out to her half-sister, Sophia Falcone. And sure enough, I really believe that Zoe Kravitz and Kristen Milioti would be an incredible duo. They look like they're half-siblings. I mean, I'm really impressed with that cast.
Yeah. I don't see anybody dual. I mean, the Hangman Killer, Sophia Falcone is nuts, crazy. Selena Kyle is definitely on the. She's on the good guy's side. She's on Batman's side. She will help the police. I don't think she'll be on Sophia Falcone's side. They might think it's of his family. Selena might think. They might have a bit of a. Sophia and Selena will definitely have something to maybe bond the belt a little bit, maybe on a point where they do have something in common about their father, Carmine, right? Carmine kills Selena's mother, and Selena's mother might be one of the Hangman victims. They don't specifically say who in the show all the victims are, but they mention a couple, but not all the victims are the Hangman victims. And of course, Sophia does not like her father at all because her father framed her for her being a Hangman killer when it was really him. There might be a bit of not a bit. That's actually a big point of something to have in common with each other. But they're two different people. Sophia is insane crazy. Selena is not. And they're definitely clearly. I mean, Selena, yeah, she's a thief, but she's not. To a point, she's not a bad. Okay, so I'll say this. Sophia, yeah, she's a victim in all of this to a point where she is a villain. And maybe in her way, you should feel bad for her. She is a victim in this show, but she's psycho. She's willing to go really, really far to get what she wants. And yeah, she should be in prison. I mean, Catwoman, on the other hand, it's not. Hasn't really gone. It's not. And I just don't see them agreeing with each other maybe on some things, but I just don't see them aligning with each other. Unless one of the characters changes their views on life, on Gotham, which Selena doesn't like. Selena obviously left Gotham because she doesn't believe in Gotham, right? She doesn't think it'll change. But she'll probably come back because she'll probably have a change of heart. And she'll probably want to get in touch with Sophia. Maybe she'll visit Sophia. Also, it's because maybe she knows about Sophia. And despite what Sophia has done after being released from Arkham, maybe she does feel sympathetic to Sophia Falcone. Because, like her mother was killed by her father, right? And Sophia was betrayed by her own father. So maybe she's sympathetic to Sophia. And since Sophia doesn't have any family, and her brother, who the only family member that truly loved her, is dead, maybe this is a way for sisters to connect, right? Where Sophia might be the only family. Sophia might be the only family member that Selena has, and vice versa. Even though they're half sister, but they're still family by blood, right? That might same time, yeah. That's what I think it is. And now Sophia clearly, so there's a chance, small chance, they might some way redeem Sophia Falcone. Because this is a character in the show that could be redeemable. Okay? Possibly redeemable. Unlike her counterpart in the comics. Her counterpart in the comics is very different. But this character is a little bit redeemable. A little bit redeemable. Where Penguin is not. Like, Penguin is not. And maybe the only way to get through that, get her to that point, is through Selena Kyle. Thank you, yeah, JFC, thank you.
Casting when you think of it in that regard. And it is a huge missed opportunity. This show has a couple of missed opportunities, which we'll discuss, but at this moment, I do think it's a huge missed opportunity that Selena never shows up during this show in person. I think that would really greatly...
Why? There's no need for her to show up. There's no need. She's in a fucking other city. This takes a week after the Batman Part 2. Why does she need to show up? Why? Why? Like, people are fucking impatient. They don't want the story. They want the story. They want what they want. Why? This story takes about a week or 2 weeks after the Batman when she leaves. Why would she show up? If this is the case, she would have stayed. Oh my God. Grace is so selfish. She wants everything to be quick. Everything to be inserted quickly she doesn't want surprises. She doesn't want shock. She doesn't want development. She wants the quick development, but not patient development. This is a problem with the community, though, not just Grace.
Benefited the show. They couldn't even get Zoe Kravitz back as Selena Kyle? But to me...
What? Yes. They have. I mean, they're going to do more stuff in this universe. Relax, Grace. Patience. Yes, I know we're 2 years away. We're 2 years away from the Batman Part 2, but can we calm down and relax? They're setting stuff up, man. Like, wow.
The best Easter egg of all was comics accurate, the Penguin being revealed at the end of the show. Smack that guy on the cover of a comic book. It was perfect. Finally, in the penthouse apartment that he'd always promised his mother, giving her the life that he'd always said he would, even though now she's a vegetable, but he still did it technically. And wow, Oz's lady friend, Eve Carlo, again, they never played up the Clayface potential, Basil Carlo being Clayface's name, but they had her dressed up to look...
That's coming. Yeah, she loves action scenes, not slow drama. Yeah. Thank you for the sub. Can we relax? Yeah. Also, with this Eve Carlo, we relax on that too. We know she's gonna become Clayface. Okay? We know that. Okay? And I think she's playing him at the end. Okay? She's playing him at the end. She's binding her time, okay?
Just like his mother.
Imagine that there was somebody who had a perfect memory and could consume and read.
Yeah. Penguin has
Great cast.
Penguin has a very strange kink, huh? He's into. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Casting there, and the way they dared to go there. Total Oedipal fantasy. Very DC, very HBO. And it's even snowing in this final scene. And
very Batman. It's very not HBO. It's very Batman. Batman has some sick MFs, motherfuckers. So I wouldn't be. I'm not surprised. I mean, like, you think you think that's disturbing? There's Batman. There's a lot more disturbing stuff in Batman stuff. I mean, like, Joker's a lot more disturbing. Professor Pig's a lot more disturbing. There's some disturbing shit. This is, to me, this is not disturbing at all. That he has a kink, a mother kink, whatever. It's just tame to the stuff that that is tamed, okay?
of course, rumor has it it'll be snowing in the next Batman movie when Mr. Freeze enters the story. So also, Lila Cron.
Hello. I can read you. I can't hear you.
I looked it up.
There's no signs of Mr. Freeze. Just because it's snowing doesn't mean Mr. Freeze is gonna be the villain. Okay? Just because if it takes place in winter, does not necessarily mean Mr. Freeze is gonna be the freaking villain. Okay? Why does it always assume that? We always assume it's gonna be, it's gonna snow, it's gonna be winter, Mr. Freeze is the villain. No. Mr. Freeze, why? And by the way, in this show, there's no hints of Mr. Freeze being the villain. The snow doesn't confirm anything. Also, we don't know how far along this show and the Batman Part 2 is going to be. How quickly the time jump is. How long the time jump between the show and the film. The snow doesn't confirm anything. Okay? Yeah. The show doesn't set up Mr. Freeze at all. And by the way, this takes place in November, December. So of course it's going to snow because the Batman Part 1 took place in October.
I think that what they're trying to signal here is that it's French.
The guaranteed villain It does snow in Gotham. Gotham's in the East Coast, the northeast coast of the USA. Of course it snows in Gotham. What are you talking about? Do you know where Gotham is? Gotham always snows in Gotham in the wintertime. Okay, the only villain for sure that's going to be unlocked in the future is Clayface, Eve Carlo.
Seems for thief or mighty counselor, which is of course a perfect way to describe
New Jersey, New York, whatever.
Oz,
yeah,
or as they've renamed him here, Oz Cobb. I don't mind that. I like that he's Oz Cobb. I like that he comes from the depths, the bowels of Gotham, whereas Bruce Wayne comes from the ivory towers. In the comics, they've always said they could have they're peers to some degree. You don't need that. I like this version of the Penguin much better. Fascinatingly, up until now, the comics, the TV shows, the movies, they haven't really known what to do with Oswald Cobblepot. He looks funny, he walks funny. He was eventually given the Iceberg Lounge, which I thought was nice, but then they didn't know where to go from there. They even tried making him a lady. And that was interesting. I liked how vicious that version was, just like he.
That's just a show, man. This is another show, Elseworld show. It's nothing related to the comics or. They could have been in another city. If it's Justice League, it's a chance they're in another city. Not Gotham. Also, it's a chance. Okay, they might be in another city.
But it's been hard for the Penguin to compete with the rest of Batman's rogues gallery until now. Oh my goodness, because this show...
I don't think she's ever read Penguin stuff before. I mean...
kind of gave him a superpower. Not just survival, but incredible luck. I laughed out loud. I really did when...
Yeah, his look is a superpower. Oh, yeah. Yeah, his look is a superpower.
Al Maroni had a heart attack just when he had Oz dead to rights. I couldn't believe it. Oz couldn't believe it either. And that Oz is also often surprised by his own luck makes him a very funny, charming, and entertaining character. And Colin Farrell plays it just right.
Did you just call Oz charming? Penguin charming? Okay, the Penguin in some versions of Penguin, he tries to act charming like, but it doesn't work. This Penguin, there's nothing charming about this Penguin. This Penguin's a type to be rejected, even if he has money. There's nothing charming about this guy's attitude. That means nothing. That means nothing. A slushie means nothing. And I don't think he even wants a slushie. It doesn't mean anything.
He's like, what the heck? Wow. Like Oz doesn't usually have a plan, but he's got his eyes and his ears open, and he's ready to pounce on the smallest and most unexpected opportunities. He's always ready to go. That, and again, there's nothing he won't do. That's incredible. I really, really like it. I would say that moment with the Maroni heart attack, when Victor got all the underlings to turn on their boss and support him in Oz, and then also,
cool.
When Oz makes that deal with the councilman to pin everything on Sophia, sending her back to Arkham, and therefore putting him in the clear. Those are the moments that stand out the most to me when I think of this new version of the Penguin, because they're so clever and so grand that they almost seem unreal. Oz wanted to be...
What? No, it's not. That's not the reason because it's Mr. Freeze. No. There's nothing in the show that indicates Mr. Freeze. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. No Easter eggs indicates Mr. Freeze. Snow doesn't indicate anything. I'm not trying to be mean here or anything. There's nothing here that indicates Mr. Freeze. Okay? What the bat signal indicates that the next chapter is Batman Part 2, and the next chapter, the Batman saga, but Batman's going to be in it. And also, Mr. Freeze, I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Freeze is not going to be in it. Not based on this show anymore.
Be a legend, right? You want not only a man of the people, but a legend. And you're like, that's like an
I believe it's going to be Two-Face. Two-Face is going to be one of the villains, or at least Harvey Dent will be involved.
Instant legend. I can't believe that just happened. Again, the Penguin has the superpower, and I hope that the character not only remains part of the Matt Reeves Batman stories, he better be in the Batman Part 2. He's right there, ready to go.
I like that costume.
Leveled up and
everything.
Purple. But I hope that this change is reflected in the comics, animation, etc. They finally figured out what to do with Penguin. In many ways, Oz is who truly represents Gotham. I mean, I guess Bruce Wayne represents the elites of Gotham that's why I guess some, you know what? I've never liked the Court of Owls storyline, but I'm kind of starting to see it as where Bruce Wayne kind of comes from. But in many ways, Oz is who truly represents Gotham, even more than the grander things that are happening with Batman and the other villains, again, up above. What's happening at the ground level? That's where Oz is. And that's beautiful. His story of survival and just getting by and rolling with the punches. I mean, that's just amazing.
Yeah, Court of Owls.
That's what Gotham
is.
All the crazy things that happen there, and yet the city still stands, like Oz himself.
But let me tell you something. There's nothing about Mr. Freeze in this show. There's no teasing of Mr. Freeze in this show. Snow doesn't mean anything. It snows all the time in Gotham. Okay? Slushy doesn't mean anything. There's nothing in this show that indicates Mr. Freeze is the future villain. Nothing.
Let's talk about Victor.
Nothing.
He's definitely...
Bleeding gums are a sign of bacterial infection. We always recommend Crest Gum toothpaste to our patients. Its unique antibacterial fluoride works below the gum line to reduce bleeding to strengthen gums. Now your gums are healthy. Thanks, Crest.
That's a stupid commercial.
Get a small $1 coffee or $2 latte until November 24th at A&W.
You know who's also a Victor? Another villain that's Victor? Zsasz. Zsasz is Victor. Okay? There's two villains named Victor. Victor Zsasz, and that doesn't mean anything about Mr. Freeze. There could be millions of people in the Batman universe named Victor. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get frustrated. I'm just gonna be like, you have to forget there's another villain in Batman universe named Victor Zsasz, okay? And Victor Zsasz has more of a connection to Penguin than Mr. Freeze does. And Blindly could back me up on that because we know from the comics and we know from Arkham, the Arkham games, the relationship, and that fits the Court of Owls, Batman Part 2, Corruption of Class, but we know the relationship between Victor Zsasz and the Penguin from the comics and the Arkham. Just because the kid's name is Victor doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. I said in one of my streams, is this kid going to be Victor Zsasz? I'm like, nope. Obviously, that kid's not going to be Victor Zsasz.
He's definitely Penguin's Robin. That was a very interesting idea. But instead of...
Oh, no. Did I freeze?
of getting to someday become Nightwing, Penguin kills him. Because villains aren't the same as hero villains. Three of my favorite Victor moments were when he changes his mind and he goes back and he gets Oz. The way he just plows into that crime scene. That was amazing. Again, Oz can't believe his luck. That was amazing. And then when Oz says just drive and leave Sophia, it would take a second to pull her into the car. They just had a big conversation about loyalty. That was one of the first signs that Oz, and I honestly believe Oz, well, he believes what he's saying in the moment, or he thinks he might, but it showed you again who Oz truly was. That was amazing. Also, when Victor realized he could bribe that police officer, what money? I was so proud of Victor. I was like, my baby boy's all grown up. He's all grown up. I loved it. And then, again, when he uses, as I said, when he uses Oz's own mantra to rise, to help, the rise of the little guy, to convince all those other underlings to join him. That was amazing. Yeah. I thought the character...
That's the minute where, that's when you know, this kid might eventually try to betray Oz and try to take over. And that's why his death makes sense now. The way he gained confidence, the way he was able to talk to those other gangsters, right?
Character evolution of Victor was phenomenal. They were evolving him incredibly well, which made it even more shocking that he was killed. I thought it might happen when he told Oz how much he loved him. I was like, oh, Victor, you were so close. I mean, was that... I still wasn't sure they were going to actually have him do it. But what did you think? What moment?
Look at Victor. Look at his face. Look at Victor's face. And look at Oz. Look at Oz.
Did you realize that Victor was done? He was going to be taken out. It was horrible. I was gutted when it happened. It was very difficult to watch. And again, that's the point. And also, talking about bookending the show, first...
That has nothing to do with Mr. Freeze. No, that's them being loyal to the Penguin. Penguins can be like the Kingpin. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
first episode, Oz takes the license as they bond. And then in the end...
That's not how criminal underworld... What's this? Oh, somebody came on.
Episode 8, after he killed him, he throws the license away into the water. Wow. I mean, almost leaving Victor...
You know, he left the body there, too. He left the body there. Like, Oz didn't do anything to the body. He just walked away from the body. I thought... Yeah, symbolic of every Batman villain. Yeah. He just left the body. I thought he'd do something with the body. But he just left it there. See, that's how cold he is, man. He didn't even give a eulogy or anything, say any words, but he just like... I guess he gave the eulogy while I was choking him. So Victor was alive listening to his eulogy while being choked. So he was dying being choked.
A nameless body, a nameless corpse, just letting him fade into Gotham. Probably never even maybe to be found. It was just brutal and extremely well done. Then, of course, Sophia. I was surprised, because she isn't a traditional cheesecake character, how many male fans absolutely fell in love with her. More so than the Gotham version from a few years ago. You know, they've significantly changed the character from the comics, and, you know, I had wanted them to go back to the comic book version because I thought it was more unique and original, but, you know, you just gotta love the way a lot of fans...
Yeah, but the comic book version is just... It's cheesy. This character had character development, man. Character development had character. Michelle Obama's going to take some notes from the Penguin now. That's hilarious.
Fans reacted to this version. Seeing men on the internet exclaim, "I can change her!" Something usually women say about bad boys.
That's what I say about Melody Mac, but I gave up on that crest.
It was just something I found very amusing. I'm a big Milioti fan, especially after that iconic Black Mirror episode, and I think at least in the beginning of this show, she did really fantastic, nuanced, original work. A little Lady Gaga-like from House of Gucci, but I really liked
Lady Gaga. That's not what the point is. Look. No. The reasons why he says his family to him is because he lost his family. He lost his family because of what happened with the Riddler with the bombings. So when Penguin took him under his ring, Penguin became to care about him, and Riddler and Victor finally found someone to believe him again, inspiration, another father figure. Like that. That's what he saw Penguin as, Oz as, because he's lost his family. It's nothing to do with Mr. Freeze. Okay? Nothing to do with Mr. Freeze. The guy lost his family because of Riddler. So he counters the Penguin. Okay? Counters the Penguin. Penguin's going to shoot him, kill him, but Penguin saw some potential in him to do his bidding, and they grew close to each other. With Victor grew really close to him, getting to a point where he sees the Penguin as a mentor, as a father figure, as someone he got close with. That's what it was, because he lost his family. It mirrors Blinded, right? It mirrors the Robin and Batman's relationship. Robin loses his parents at the circus. Bruce Wayne takes him in, adopts him, and over time they bond to become family. But in this case, Oz kills him. Bruce Wayne doesn't kill Dick Grayson. Instead, he trains Dick Grayson, gives him a life, gives him comfort, gives him a father figure, gives him a grandpa figure or uncle figure like Alfred. It gives him the chance to not feel pain. Okay? Not feel pain. That's what it is. It's supposed to mirror that relationship. Nothing to do with Mr. Freeze.
what she was doing. Despite her small stature, you definitely believe she could take on Oz. And I think her most valuable asset was her unpredictability, something that has helped many a Batman villain. But on that note, I did not like that she became less a member of the Gotham Mafia scene and more one of those fantastic Batman villains. It not only felt like a bit of a knockoff of the Gotham show from Fox, but it was a leap that just didn't feel right. It's not like she was inspired by what the Riddler had done in Batman and Catwoman's arrival on the scene. Maybe then it would have made a little more sense to me, but they didn't do that. You know, maybe if Selina had showed up and said, you know what you could do? You know what I found very helpful? Like, she didn't even do that. It just seemed to come out of nowhere. You know where it seemed to come out of? The writer's room. The writers saying, we need a bigger-than-life villain like Batman usually has. We need to turn Sophia up to an 11 because for some reason, DC won't give us any other characters to play with. So they had to kind of create their own. And therefore, it didn't feel organic to me. In the comics, the Falcone family managed
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. See how a conversation with us about your goals can help put everything in motion.
That could find it.
Family manages to cross paths.
She's pretty much dead. She's a vegetable.
That crazier world in Gotham that's emerging.
Harsh,
you know, one of the family members goes to Arkham, but they still maintain their mafia flavor. As Sophia's outfits became more outlandish and her behavior more and more bizarre, she felt more like Batman Rogues Gallery Light
What's up, Degrassi?
than a formidable member of Gotham's mafia scene. What Gotham's mafia scene would become to hold their own. You know, maybe somewhere in between, and that is something I would have preferred. To me, Sophia was at her best in that conversation in episode 3 with Oz after, you know, they started that drug deal. A mob boss tightening the noose around someone's neck just with their words.
Because
she knew.
This show doesn't set up Mr. Freeze. The stuff you're trying to prove as evidence as Mr. Freeze, it's not evidence at all. The kid named is Victor is evidence. You say he's like family to me? You're like family to me? That's evidence? The mama stuff? That's not evidence. There's no evidence. The snow? Because it's snowing in Gotham? That's evidence? That Mr. Freeze is going to be a villain? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. To me, that's not evidence. That's not concrete evidence. It snows all the time in Gotham. In fact, it snows all the time in Gotham winter time. Okay? Yeah. Hush may be a villain. Yeah. Like, there's some Easter eggs pointing to Hush. Like, from the first movie, even this show, I didn't capture some stuff, but apparently there's a bridge named Elliott Bridge or something. But there's a lot of stuff that you're saying that you think it's evidence, is pointing to Mr. Freeze. It's just not believable.
And truly worthy of her father's legacy. I was surprised how much the Falcone family, by the way, would let her get away with. I know they were supposed to underestimate women, but, you know, they were getting very, very scared of her, and yet they allowed her to remain in the house. I thought that just didn't make any sense to me. I'm also not sure why they felt the need to make Carmine Falcone the hangman. Even John Turturro found that distasteful, which is why Mark Strong had to step in, although I felt very effectively. I liked Carmine putting his own daughter in Arkham, but there were so many reasons that he could do it, you know, just to quiet her up, and so she didn't tell on him. But with the hangman thing, it felt like, again, the only reason they included it was because they were desperate for an Easter egg, and they got this from The Long Halloween. Only in that comic, the hangman was a woman. So I didn't like, they were like, oh, yes, preying on women. I was like, no, the whole point is that it is a woman, and, you know, that, you know, it just really...
Oh, relax, Grace. Relax, Grace. Oh, wow, relax, Grace. Fuck, this is Batman, man. This is a universe that's a Joker fucking in it. And you're beat up. You're all out of shape on that. A man killing women. Have you watched any other movies? movies, TV shows. Oh, because it's Batman. Oh, this is Batman. Is Batman? They shouldn't do it. I mean, have you watched? This is Batman. We're talking. They got a fucking guy dressed up as a clown that's heinous shit all the time. Heinous shit all the time. A guy who killed a kid, paralyzed Barbara Gordon, maybe raped her, killed Commissioner Gordon's second wife, Sarah Essen, in front of babies, for all goodness sake. This is the fucking universe of the Joker, and you're all bent out of shape about a man choking women and hanging them because you're against it, but it's okay if a woman does it. What? Are you fucking kidding me? You know how woke that sounds? That's extreme wokeness. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you. Seriously. Oh my God. The Batman lore has arguably the most sickest, demented, sadistic villains in all comics. Okay? All of comics. Okay? And you're out bent out of shape. Oh, they changed the Hangman killer from a woman to a man. That doesn't confirm. That does. The Long Halloween took place in the winter. Okay? Mr. Freeze was in Long Halloween. Arkham Origins, I know there's a DLC. Arkham Origins took place during Christmas. The DLC aside, Mr. Freeze wasn't in the main story of Arkham Origins, and that took place during Christmas. Just because one season doesn't mean anything, okay? Doesn't mean anything. Also, Mr. Freeze doesn't control the weather, okay? Okay? He can literally do his shit in the summertime. Like he has. Okay? Or springtime. He's not freaking Storm where he can control weather. And by the way, Mr. Freeze, and they're not going to make him like that because this is real. This is not fantastical. This is not going to have fantastical elements. And he doesn't fit in the story right now. After the show, he doesn't fit in the story. Tell me how he fits the story. What does a penguin set up for Mr. Freeze to fit the story? Where is it? Where is it? Tell him that. Where is it at? Where is it? Because I can see Harvey Dent. I see Harvey Dent. I don't see anything about Mr. Freeze.
I think, gutted the original storyline. It was, or at least partially a woman. It was revealed to be Harvey Dent turned Two-Face and his wife Gilda, who's also very small, like Sophia has been made to be. So it's just a waste of a storyline and a twist from the comics. I was like, you wasted it. You didn't need to do that. Also, on that note, is Gotham's mafia scene truly, totally wiped out? Is there no more mafia? That would really be unfortunate, because speaking of the Long Halloween, I know it's been adapted into an animated series, etc., but you should really read the an animated movie.
Iceberg Lounge. Oh my God. Iceberg Lounge. Mr. Freeze has nothing to do with Iceberg Lounge. Iceberg Lounge has to do with the penguin. The penguin is named after an animal. Named the penguin. A penguin animal, right? The bird from Antarctica. What Antarctica is, it's made out of snow and ice. That's why it's called Iceberg Lounge. It has nothing to do with Mr. Freeze. I think you're a fan of Mr. Freeze. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just being objectively here, man. Yeah, why was Lita break Sophia out of Arkham? Like, they might have stuff in common, but they're not exactly on the same set.
Well, 2 movies. But you really got to read the comic. Nothing has come close to the comic. Even this show, for as good as this show is, in terms of the Penguin, it does not do the mafia aspects of the Long Halloween story justice. So part of the commentary there was the mafia having to deal with this new type of criminal that had emerged in Gotham because of the arrival of Batman, and how they would have to go up against it, coexist, what was going on there. And this show, unfortunately, didn't get to do that. So I would hate to see the mafia totally taken off the board in the world of Matt Reeves'.
Grace, you're right, but there are criminals in the Batman universe that are against the mafia. His name is Riddler, and guess what? His cell next to him is going to be who is going to be the disruption to that. Not Batman. Batman will help, but Joker. You're right. The rise of the supervillain. No, it looks like it stinks. It looks like the rise of the supervillain.
The Batman, because that's a great thing to go over. All right, now outside of the bigger moves, the Penguin also had some nice smaller flourishes. The blood mushrooms, a real thing, by the way. Oh, those were great. Perfect for the source of a new drug in Gotham. And I liked Oz's purple car, the Penguin's favorite color, which, got him into a lot of trouble, but he just liked it. I liked it. It was one of the few, splurges that
That has nothing to do with anything. No. Hey, Degrassi's an expert on this smart fire toy, so I'll let Degrassi explain this for you. If you want Degrassi.
he allowed himself. Until the end, obviously, where he went full Penguin and it was glorious.
I see Moon Fire toys being on pre-orders has nothing to do with the movies or the shows at all.
Also, the flashback to how Victor's family was taken out by the Riddler's flash flood. That was very well done.
This is the reason why he sees Penguin as a father figure, a mentor, because he lost his family. He lost everything when his girl left too. Remember, he chose to stay behind. He chose the Penguin over his own girl. He could have chose a better life, potentially in California. And what happened? He paid a price.
A nice, precision use of VFX on the show, which clearly also doesn't have a huge budget, and a nice way to work the film back into the show. However, as I said, the show also had some major missed opportunities. What they did with Arkham was a mess.
Also, the foreign toys will not release action figures 2 years in advance for a movie.
Appreciate very much they used the same sets from the movie. That was nice. But Magpie was the best guest star.
You sent me a DM? Oh, okay, I gotta check. Did you send me a DM? Oh. And what happens? I have a question for you. What happens when it gets summertime and it gets really blazing hot? That would just melt the ice, and guess what? The ice will be water. Ice, and it'll just be the flood all over again. Look, okay, just think about it. Just think about it. That logic doesn't work.
I could get, I'd be like, you gotta give me somebody else.
Discover a new Today Showstopper at tsc.ca. Exciting offers every day.
Me somebody else but Magpie. She's just a Harley Quinn ripoff. Sorry, Magpie fans, but it's true.
Magpie, maybe she'll take on the mantle of Magpie. That'd be interesting. I like that.
And no Jeremiah Arkham. The actor they cast even looks like Jeremiah
Why would
Arkham.
Jeremiah Arkham? Jeremiah Arkham is a fucking... Oh, Jeremiah Arkham. Oh. Jeremiah, I was thinking about the Joker, Jeremiah from Gotham.
I was like, how is that not Jeremiah Arkham? And I really did not like the whole storyline with Theo Rossi's Dr. Rush. I know he's done a good job on other shows.
You know what's funny? Some people are suggesting that this guy is secretly Hush. This is Thomas Elliott. Because look, his last name is Rush. Some people are theorizing, some people, not me, that guy is secretly Hush. Thank you, DeGrasse. Thank you, Degrassi. I appreciate it. So I'm gonna pull up this thing from Matt Reeves. Then I'll get back to this, okay? But thank you, Degrassi. From Rotten Tomatoes on X.
That he was in the first movie. So the idea that we now have this entry point where Batman is going to be meeting this character in a different place in his life, and that it's going to go to, again, continue to flesh out the picture about the nature of the corruption in Gotham and the darkness, that to me, I sort of see all these things we're doing as a meditation on this place, a place that is filled with such desperation, but yet draws people to it. And you see people kind of fighting and struggling to be here. It never seems to get any better despite all efforts. And thank God it doesn't, or there wouldn't be a need for Batman. And then we'd be in trouble because we love Batman. But yeah, in that way, I think the idea that we're going to delve into that story, it's sort of teased in the last episodes of this, the kind of how the system works and how these things work. And I think the idea of being able to dig deeper into the true reason for the perpetual darkness of this place is one of the exciting things that I'm excited about for the movie.
Hush. Yeah, I haven't seen all the hints, but I've seen some hints. I gotta get back to that and see some hints. Thank you, Degrassi, for that. Thank you. I gotta get back to this.
But he really stood out as a horrible actor in this context. I was like, oh, get him out of here. I didn't like that it was so similar to what happened with Dr. Harleen Quinzel.
You don't like creeps. You don't like creeps, right? You don't like creeps, and that's what I get from this. Well, welcome to Batman, man. Welcome to Batman, full of insane maniacs, creepy maniacs, sadistic maniacs. Welcome to Batman, Grace. And look at that face. Oh my God. Look at that face. There's true reason for all the corruption in Gotham. Yeah, the thing about Hush, he's a behind the scenes kind of guy. And then he Clarvals too, man. But look at that face of Grace. I admit that.
And the Joker in the Mad Love storyline. And I couldn't figure out what his angle was. I was like, what?
Grace doesn't like insane. Grace does not like insanity. I don't like. She says she's a fan of Batman, but I don't think she likes insanity. She doesn't like villains that are insane. Well, Grace, that's the majority of Batman characters. It's supposed to be that way. Okay? Oh my God. Have you played the fucking games? Batman characters are creepy as fuck.
What are you up to, buddy?
Grace, this is Marvel syndrome. This is Marvel syndrome. You want to know why this is Marvel syndrome? Because Marvel will never do this. Marvel will never do this. MCU, I'm telling you, MCU, Maybe the Daredevil, but I'm getting most of the time MCU, they'll never have somebody like the Haven't Killed woman. They'll never mention that. Marvel will never have creepy characters like this character. Or they would never go as far as how Batman and the Gotham world portrays characters. Marvel will never do that. MCU will never do that. That's a Disney thing. They will never do that. Exactly, Degrassi. Batman's willing to go farther. Okay? Maybe he's going farther. I'm sorry, like, okay.
I get wanting to add some spicier scenes, to keep that HBO reputation, but they weren't even that spicy and sexy. They just didn't work. They were just like, what is happening here? I do not care for it. I also felt the Falcone house just looked all wrong. I liked that it was in New Jersey. They even drove over the George Washington Bridge to go to Fort Lee. I was like, I love it. Not only is the real mob in New Jersey, but it was a nice fun nod to The Sopranos, the original streaming show on HBO that, started this whole fad that we're into today. Or I guess you could also say Renaissance movement, etc. But The Sopranos is the one that started it all. It's the Snow White, thank you very much. But the Falcone house just looked too much like the sets from Gotham. I just didn't like it. It took me out of the show every time. I was like, can't we get a better house than this? I don't like it.
Great, she'd be lucky to afford a house like that.
And then finally, Oz's mom. Also, again, a little bit from The Sopranos, his relationship with his mother. But I wasn't sure what to make of her. That actress did a wonderful job. They seemed to say that she hated her son ever since that he had killed his brothers, and she knew about it. But she didn't go through with that deal, that amazing deal, to have him killed as a child. When that gangster offered to take her son out for her. It was, that was a big reveal because Oz idolized that guy. Wasn't that the guy he was talking about? I don't know. I think it was at the beginning of the show. And that gangster was going to kill him. That was amazing.
Rex.
But she called that off and she encouraged him over all the years, right? She seemed very much in his corner. Was it because of her dementia, right? Had she gone also partially mad over what had happened? That would be interesting, right? Was it also because she promised him a better life and what was done and she was still also her son? I liked some of the aspects of that big reveal, but I think it's almost like they needed one more episode to really truly flesh it out. But yet at the same time, what happened with Oz's family was just so horrible. Maybe broad strokes are better because I think they kind of acknowledged that nobody, even Oz and his mother, didn't really want to go revisit what happened there. And so therefore neither did the audience. And they left the darkest corners of what happened to our imaginations. So, I guess to some degree it worked. But I just felt I never really got a good grasp of what exactly happened there. And I guess maybe to some degree, Oz and his own mother don't know exactly what happened. But yes, by the end of these 8 episodes, I saw the Penguin in all his glory. He not only leapt off the comic book page, but he was better than he has ever been. It was wonderful. It was so nice to see that kind of respect and stewardship of the IP. Come in and leave it better than you found it. Wouldn't it be wonderful if every creative who was hired to work on this IP felt the same way? In every aspect of the IP. And I've seen many people do damage to these iconic characters and stories. Not just movies, TV, comics, but this was incredible. And that's why I said I would love to see HBO-style origins for all of Batman's villains. I would love to see that, but unfortunately the views for the show, at least what we've been seeing so far, maybe the binge will save it, but it has not been phenomenal. I mean, maybe hopefully the show doesn't look expensive. Hopefully it's not.
Well, maybe because unlike Disney Plus, only Americans get HBO Max. Newsflash, we don't get it here in Canada. The rest of the world doesn't get it HBO Max. So don't compare to Disney Plus, please.
What did you think? What were your favorite characters?
Because I guarantee you the show on Disney Plus, if this wasn't, first of all, if it's a Disney show, it would not be this good. But if this was if this show was on Disney Plus, it would do mega numbers.
Moments on the show. And what if anything could have maybe been improved upon? And do you think it was weird that not only Batman didn't show up, but absolutely none of his allies? And who would you have maybe liked to have seen? And would you like to see this type of...
So there's the villains here. Two-Face for sure. Catwoman's already in. Penguin's in. We already got the Riddler. Maybe Batgirl, Poison Ivy. I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind Mr. Freeze, but I don't think he's. But you can tell Mr. Freeze is not being penciled in right now. Bane maybe, but I don't know about the. But I think the most logical conclusion from this show, yes, Harsh maybe will probably be involved, but the most logical villain character they're pointing to is going to end up in the future of this universe is Two-Face. Definitely Two-Face. Definitely Two-Face. Catwoman will come back. Penguin is coming back. Riddler will definitely come back. I don't know about Batgirl. It depends on the age of Barbara, because I believe Barbara is in this universe. You just will see her. But, and I don't know about the specific. I don't know about the top four, but the top five, these bottom four, we'll definitely see in this world. I mean, 3 of the 4 we already see. So the 4th one will be Two-Face. Yeah. One-liner HBO on demand. Yeah. See, Degrassi. We don't get that here, kind of. So of course the views are not going to be as good, like, right? Because it's not worldwide.
Show continue. Do you want a Penguin season 2? I don't really think there's anything else to explore. I mean, I'd like to see him bring him back for maybe some of the other villains, but I'd love, just like any DC fan knows, back in the day, they put out these titles every once in a while. They would do a series of origin or like focus on the villains, and they would all get their own, like, it would be like a set almost, and it was so cool, and it was great. And I see that for HBO, if, hopefully, if the numbers make sense. Creatively, though,
HBO, if the numbers make sense. Did you hear that? Did you fucking hear that? Oh my god. Did Degrassi, I have a question for you. Did it debut episode, didn't that do better in House of Dragon? Season 2? Let me ask.
I think it does. Please give them a little bit more to play with. I'm tired of
exactly.
the execs tying the creatives one hand behind their back. But still, that's how good the creatives were here. They still managed to make something really incredible. All right, share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today.
Oh yeah, and she said 700 that Batman didn't do well at the box office. 772 million wasn't good at the box office. She said it early in the stream. Oh my god.
Of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.
Like what? All right. Look, it wasn't one of her worst things. Blind, if you're still around, I disagree with you. You told me it was okay. I didn't think the stream was okay. I don't think it was okay. I think there's a lot of stuff not BS in her video. I thought she would explain what she thinks the future of the show, of what's going to happen in the next chapter. She didn't go in there. She didn't really mention the Easter. She said the Easter eggs. She didn't talk about Easter eggs. She didn't mention any Easter eggs. Like what? Like she didn't mention any fucking Easter eggs. Even though it had her in her title. And she thinks every comic book adaptation has to have Easter eggs too. If it doesn't have Easter eggs, it's a bit of a disappointment to her. Yeah. Whatever, man. All right. Well, there's a problem with that. One's from Disney, one's from Warner Brothers, so it doesn't work like that. But I'm going to end it here, guys. Tomorrow we're going to look at Thunderbolt to Captain America from from Grace. I wish it was gonna be today, but on the heels of the finale, I decided to go with the Batman stuff, the Penguin stuff tonight, and I'll do Thunderbolts and Captain America from Grace tomorrow. And you're all free to join. Degrassi, Blinded. But yeah, there's going to be a second season. Yeah. Make sure to like, share,